Creating the ideal client for your business can help you tailor your products or services to meet their needs. Creating a detailed profile of your ideal customer will help guide your marketing strategies, product development, and customer service efforts. Welcome to Dollars and Dreams, the podcast designed to empower you to take control of your personal and business finance. You know, the very thought of money and finance can often send chills down your spine and stir up fear of the unknown. But let's change that narrative together. Through this podcast, my goal is to not only to provide you with useful information, but also to inspire and motivate you to take action towards your own financial goals. Let's rewrite your money story together. Welcome to today's episode of Dollars and Dreams. In today's episode, I want to talk about something that's really important for every person that runs a business, and that's working out who your ideal customer is, or what is called avatar. So it's not the big blue creatures that was in that film. It is looking and diving deep into your ideal customer, what is their fears in life, what's their emotions, why they should be buying your product. And it is one of the things that most people forget about when they start business. And it is something that certainly I forgot about or didn't do when I started my business. And when I talk to my business owners about, who is your ideal client or your ideal customer, who is your avatar, they look at me and just say, well, anybody that wants to buy my product. But that is the equivalent of, I use the analogy, if you go into a park and you've got a certain amount of darts and you're just going to throw darts into the air and hope that you hit the target that's across the way, or you narrow down your field, narrow down what you're looking at and get smaller and smaller so that when you throw that dart, you're going to hit the bullseye. And that's what you want to do with your marketing. Now, a lot of clients, when I talk to them, they just tell me they don't actually do marketing. You may not realize it, but your business is marketing all the time. It's just whether you're marketing efficiently or whether you're just randomly throwing things out there. Marketing comes down to not just advertising, which is what most people will think when we say, how do you market your business? It can be things like the colors that you use or the logos that you're using or the messaging in your emails or even the messaging that's on your packaging if you sell a product. And that is part of the marketing. So what we always say to people is before you do any form of marketing, what you need to do is sit down and dig deep into what is your ideal client, what makes them tick. And the more you dig deep into that, the greater chance you'll be speaking directly to your customer or the person that you want to sell your products to. One of the other things that we find quite often when I talk to people, they'll say that I can't do that because I've got multiple things. Having an ideal customer or an avatar for your business doesn't mean you only have one. You can have multiple ones, but you still need to know what product you're selling to who. So when we work with clients, we have a worksheet that we use and we get people to dig into, what sex is your ideal client, what age are they, what emotional things are they going through, what even down to what television shows do you think they would be watching. And I always say you should name your avatar. That way when you're writing your emails or you're writing any blogs or content for your website, you're talking to a person. My avatar's name is Sally. And so whenever I'm writing emails, I picture Sally. In my head, I know what Sally looks like, how old she is, what she does of a weekend, what sort of things that she's interested in. And that for me is when I'm sitting writing things, I'm actually writing it to a person. And when you start writing your content or your marketing to a person, you actually write better and it flows more easily. When you're trying to just scatter everything out and try to get a person, you will never connect with them. And marketing is about connecting and making your ideal customer sit there and go, that's exactly what I need. And that's what you're trying to get from digging into your avatar. So some of the other things that we would look at is, do they have a family? Are they single? Are they looking for retirement? Are they looking to solve a problem? Are they looking to find a need that they haven't been able to find in the market? And when you start to sit there and start to think about your avatar, you will get a great understanding of what they want and need. And that will give you a greater ability to turn that lead into a sale. Because regardless of what you do for a business, everyone is selling. If you're not selling, you're not making money. And if you're not making money, you're a charity. And your business is not a charity to you. So you need to make sure that you understand your market. So what I want you to do if you're listening to this podcast is after it's done, just sit down and think about who you're marketing to and who your ideal customer is. Come up with a name for them. Figure out what they want and what market you can solve, or what problem, you can solve for them. And ask what your competitors have that your ideal client is missing out on. So if you've got a competitor in the market and you know what your ideal client wants, then you should be able to look at what your competitor is selling and look at the gaps in your in their product that you can take up to get that ideal client. So when you look at your avatar, think about what makes them tick. What is it that they want to achieve that you can solve? What are their pain points? What problems can you solve? How can you make their life better or their business better if you're a business-to-business consumer? The other things that you can look at is, what's their buying habits? I recently went back to a gym. Haven't been to a gym for a lot of years. And when I started looking at what gym I wanted to go to, I found one that was speaking to me. It was one that was, look, I'm well and truly in my 50s. I'm overweight, I'm underfit, and I needed somewhere where I wasn't going to be competing against people who'd been in gyms for years and years and were really strong. And I needed a gym that was more of my capabilities, and that it was me against the machine or me against the weight, not me against that person that was next to me. And so the gym that I ended up in spoke to me, because when I looked at their website, they had people that were like me. They weren't what I call the gym junkies, the beautifully built, the really tall, the great muscular structure and everything. The gym that I have joined had people like me. So it spoke to me straight away that I was going to fit in. It wasn't, all these people that had been at gyms for years and looked great and were going to be really strong. And, when I got there, this is exactly what I'm facing. There are some people there that are definitely middle-aged, but they're very strong, they're fit, they do a lot more reps of things than I do. But then there's people like me that just want to improve their health, not necessarily look at the change in the physique. So that gym spoke to me when I looked at their website, when I looked at their marketing, the words that were there and all of that sort of stuff. So I was their ideal customer. And when you look at another gym, I didn't feel like I would fit in. So before I'd even spoken to anyone, their marketing on their website spoke to me. And that's what you need to do as a business owner. And I always say your website is like your physical location. So if you're walking past a shop and it looks chaotic, there's nothing that's pleasing to the eye and you don't want to walk in, that is your website. And so, I can walk past a skateboard shop. I have no intention of ever riding a skateboard, didn't do it. in my 20s or 30s. I might have done it in my teens. I have no intention of getting on a skateboard because that would end badly for me. So going past a skateboard shop doesn't appeal to me because I am not their ideal client. But the teenage boy going past, or the teenage girl, or that person in their 20s that still wants to ride skateboards, or even people in their 50s that want to ride skateboards, that talks to them. And so what it's doing is it's getting that customer to walk in the store to buy from them. It's not about getting the person in there that's going to potentially take up a salesperson's time to then have the ideal customer walk in and not be able to be served because I'm using up their time. So it's very important when you're working out who your ideal customer is, that it's more than just about selling. It's about making sure that you're not wasting time on somebody that's not going to sell to you. And you see this quite often in, all the social media platforms and things where people will have 100,000 followers or, people doing that, but then they have no sales. And that's because they have attracted the customer onto their social media that's never going to buy from them because the actual product that you sell doesn't attract them. So part of working out who your avatar is to make sure that you're speaking to the person that is actually going to buy off you, not just filling up your social media, not just filling up your email data list for no reason. So you want the people on there that are going to buy from you. They may not be buying from you now, but you're nurturing that to sell to them later on. And you've got to remember that taking a client on is a slow dance. It's not, you're not stepping straight into a tango with a client that when they come on board. You need to nurture that client, show them what you can do for them, show them how you can help them and things like that. Because when you take on a client, they've got to get to know, like, and trust you. But it is a lot easier to sell to somebody who is already looking for the product that you sell. So when you sit down and you think about your business, it can take some time, and working out who your ideal client is or your avatar is not something simple. You might readjust who it is, you might dig deep, and you've missed the person. So sometimes it's good to revisit this. You've got to keep in mind also that as your product or your service develops, your avatar may change. Your avatar ages. So are you aging with it, or are you now looking at the people that were the same age group as your avatar from a couple of years ago? And I always say, for me, when I started my digital platform, I wasn't looking for the millennials because I was looking for people that are aged between 35 and 55. So my avatar falls into that age group of 35 to 55. But the millennials are now into that. So when I first started years ago, and I'm saying, I'm not after the millennials, I'm after those people, the Generation X's and the Ys and, all those other things. But it was someone between 35 and 55. I have to now readjust my marketing message to reach the millennials because they've now moved into my demographic. When I first started this, my 55-year-olds are now maybe, 58, 50, 60 maybe. So they're moving out of what my ideal customer is because I'm looking to help people that are pre-retirees because I want to be able to help people in what I do to be able to remove debt from their life, to build their wealth, to get ready for retirement, to give them the life that they want in retirement. Now, people that are in their 60s probably have already removed debt from their life. They've already probably started well and truly on their way to retirement. So my ideal customer will stay stagnant at 35 to 55. I have a product that doesn't necessarily move with the age groups, but your product may. So you've got to keep reassessing who your avatar is so that you don't keep marketing to somebody who doesn't want to buy from you anymore. And it's really important to remember that your avatar's needs, wants, and desires change as the economy changes, as the world changes, and as new markets come onto the product. So your avatar is definitely not set in stone, and you need to be constantly reassessing. And when I say constantly, I'm not saying jump on every couple of weeks and do it. But for me, it's about rejigging twice a year to reassess, is my avatar still the same? My avatar, as I said, is named Sally. Sally's still my avatar's name. It's just that what I'm looking for has moved on. And it's important when you look at your messages. As I said, the millennials are now moving into my ideal customer area. The way I have to speak to millennials is very different to the way I would speak with other generations. And that's important as well when you're doing your messaging to your avatar, that you look at the language that they're looking at for. They're looking at the ideal customer that they want to be. They're looking at how they look at the world and what's important to them. And so when you're looking at how to talk to them through your messaging, it's really important that you understand what one of those generations your ideal customer falls into. The idea behind the avatar, as I said, is to sell your product without you feeling salesy. And that's something a lot of people will, when I talk to them, they say, I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm not good at being salesy. And when you know your avatar intimately, so you know exactly what they're looking for, how you can help them, your sale is not salesy because you're serving a need for them. You're presenting a product that's going to solve the issues that they have. So for me, it's a bit like, when I go to a restaurant and I look at that menu, I don't know what some of those terms are. The waiter that comes up and explains things to me has solved my problem. And so instead of me then picking off the menu, something that's I understand, something that I know or am used to eating or anything like that, that waiter can then solve my problem for me and explain to me what that dish is because I haven't eaten it or seen it before. And it's the same thing, like I said, with the gym that I've just joined. They speak to me, so they didn't need to sell to me because I was already sold on that they were solving the problem I had. And the problem I had was that I'm underfit, I'm overweight, haven't been in a gym for years and years and years. I was concerned that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with the other people there. I was concerned that it would be too tough and I would find it too difficult and throw in the towel, so to speak. But their website, their blogs, their messaging all solved those problems for me. So it showed me that there were people there that were similar to me. There were people there of my age group. There were people there that, you could see in the pictures that some had lots of weights on the things that they were doing. Some were just lifting a bar with no weights on it. And then when I reached out to them to find out a little bit more, the messaging that came back to me from the owner of that gym was, you are competing against you and you only. You do how many repetitions you can do. You do how much you can push, how much you can lift. It is not about anything else. So that solved all my problems. So from then on, it wasn't a hard decision for me. It was I need to do this for my own health. I need to do this for improving. I'm getting to those age group where lots of things are starting to go wrong. That we all know that muscle mass as we get older, it can be quite hard to build. Muscle mass as you get older is what will keep you from having falls, which put you in hospital and all those sorts of things. So I knew all the things that I should be doing because it was going to benefit me. And all they did was show me that they had the ability to solve those for me. So it wasn't salesy once he told me how much my weekly charge would be, how the classes ran. I was already sold because he had spoken to me intimately. And that put me at ease. It showed me how he could solve my problems. So it's really important that when you are looking to do copy either through your website or your emails or your blogs or whatever it is, that you know your avatar intimately. So you've already told them how you can make their life better, how you can solve their problems, how you can provide a product or service that they want. And that's the important thing, because then you're not selling. Your product or service has already sold itself because it fixes an issue that your avatar wants. And so then you don't feel like you're selling, because you're not selling. Your product has already sold itself. And so that's pretty much it. I do go through with all the clients that I work with an avatar worksheet, and there's lots of questions. The only thing that most people will say to me is, how do I actually know what my avatar wants? If you know your product quite well, you should have a rough idea of what your avatar wants. But for me, it's jumping into things like Facebook groups where what I think is my ideal client exists. Listen to the comments that are there, looking at things that they're liking or sharing from Facebook or Instagram, jumping on to community forums and just asking what is there. Have a look at your competitors' websites and see what some of the comments or the ratings are, because quite often, you might jump onto one of your competitors' websites, have a look at their Google reviews, and it may very well be somebody said, great product, this is what I've been looking for, etc., etc., and they will tell you why they bought it. Ask questions in groups. A lot of the community groups, you can ask questions, and I did this when I was writing my Super Savvy Woman course. I jumped into a few Facebook groups where women of the demographic that I was looking for, remember mine's 35 to 55, I jumped into those Facebook groups and said, tell me 3 things that scares you about your super. Another time I said, tell me 3 things that scares you about retirement. You could ask questions about 3 things that you don't understand about retirement. When you ask those questions, though, have a look for who's commenting. Have a look if they are your demographic that you're looking for. And, of course, then ask more questions. So some of mine came back and said, with the super funds, I actually don't know whether I'm going to have enough for retirement. So then I went back and asked another question to dig a little bit deeper, and it would be, do you know yet what your retirement life looks like? What things you want to do in retirement? Some people came back and said no. Some people said yes, but I still don't know how much that costs. So I could create my course by knowing that people wanted to know how much money they needed in super to give them the lifestyle they want in retirement. Once you do that, though, if you ask questions in these community groups or Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you're searching for your avatar, make sure you don't ignore it. You've got to respond to the people that commented, because you can learn a lot more as you go along. You can also, you don't want to be one of those ones that just goes, great, got the information and move on. Part of sharing is being involved in the backwards and forwards conversation. Because if that is your ideal client and you've been conversing with them in Facebook or Instagram, and then you don't respond when they give you information, they're not going to come to your site. So if they are your avatar and you're doing it for market research, start communicating with them there, because they will then, when you have your product or service ready, they will be potentially one of your consumers. And so you don't want to burn bridges. So keep that communication going. The only other thing that I would say is when you're looking at your avatar, you need to find what is called your unique selling position. So we call it a USP. You don't want to be exactly the same as your competitors. It's a big market. And remember, I've always said in all my trainings and things, you don't need to sell to everyone. You only need a very small slice of the market. But if your competitor's in the next suburb and you have the same product, you have the same avatar, you have the same everything, you need to find something that sets you apart from your competitors. And so, let's just take my financial services practice here, and I'll give you an example. We do income tax returns, we do financial statements, we do business growth. The next accounting firm, and we're here where we are in Newcastle, there's probably 8 or 9 just in this suburb we're in. Every one of those does tax returns, financial statements, business growth strategies, etc. So each of the 9, let's say here, has to have something that makes a customer want to go there as opposed to the next one. My unique selling position, so my USP, is that we are a very small team. So you're not getting one person talking to you, but somebody else in the office doing the work, and definitely not a trainee. We don't have trainees here. We only have qualified accountants. And the other thing then is that because we are such a small team, we have very small turnover. So the accountant that did your work this year will be the accountant that will do your work next year, and hopefully will be the accountant that does your work the following year. So I look to build relationships. And yes, every other accounting firm in this suburb would say that they also build relationships, but they cannot say that the person they're talking to on the phone is the person doing the work necessarily. The bigger ones would have the partner talking to them, maybe the accounting manager doing some of the stuff, and then they'd have trainees or intermediate accountants doing the work. The other side of it is that I always say that we are a very relaxed accounting firm. Some accounting firms are still the traditional accounting firms, but that's okay. They've got a market that suits that. My USP is that we are a small team. We're very personal. We're very casual. We don't do business attire here. We do a lot of different ways of communicating. We do things slightly different. And that attracts a client that wants that. Anybody who wants the formal process and the big firm so that, there's lots of different services and things, they will go to one of my competitors. So it's important that you understand your avatar intimately to know what you can create as a USP so that they come to you and not your competitor. So I hope that has helped a little bit today with understanding who your ideal customer is, who your avatar for, it's called in marketing terms, but also understanding what your unique selling position is to your competitors. Understanding those two very unique concepts of, who your avatar is and your USP is the key to talking to your customer without feeling salesy. It's also the key to growth. And of course, if you're attracting your client that you can solve an issue for, it's very easy for your business to grow and build the base that you want to build. So if you have any more questions, please reach out to me here at jenrichardson.co. We're going to be kicking off our Business Growth Academy very soon, where we can go through and teach you all these sorts of things. But if you need any more information on how to work out who your avatar is or how you dig deep to find their persona, just reach out to me here and I will be more than happy to help you out. So thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you very soon. And don't forget to like and share this with any of your friends who may be able to learn something from today's podcast. And hey, if we're not friends, come join me over on jenrichardson.co. It's the same handle on Facebook and Instagram. And we can share more information over there. So thanks for listening and enjoy your week. Remember, the advice shared in Dollars and Dreams is general in nature and it does not consider your own personal circumstances. Dollars and Dreams is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon to make investment or financial decisions. If you need more help, please reach out to a financial advisor for tailored personal advice. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And please leave me a review. Your feedback really helps me to reach other people chasing their money dreams. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram to connect with me. You will find the link in the bio or head over to my website at jenrichardson.co where you will find free content and learning tools.